As a business owner or manager, the way we deal with mistakes that happen with our directs or our staff can have a profound effect on their confidence and how things are improved or not going forward. Today, I want to share an experience that happened in our company this morning when an error was made and the wrong document was sent out to a new client. And it was how we actually went through the process of root cause analysis. Why did this happen? And then what we did about it to make sure it doesn't happen again. But really importantly, the conversation we had about systems improvement and optimization to ensure that this isn't just a standalone incident which we fixed, is we're actually changing the culture within the business and changing the mindset of the staff to ensure that they are being proactive about improving systems going forward to ensure that actually these sorts of things are fixed when the problem arises, with or without my involvement.
So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day and this is Systemize Your Success.
Welcome to Systemize Your Success. Dr. Steve Day here. And as I mentioned in the intro, this morning we had an incident where the wrong document was sent out to a client for signature. It wasn't completely wrong document, it was the wrong version of a document. And luckily the staff member actually noticed this. It could have been completely missed. And ultimately it's just a slightly different version of a document, so it doesn't really matter. Luckily in this particular case. But what's important is how we dealt with it in the meeting. And I think that I dealt with it really well. And I believe that the staff member walked away feeling not victimized that they'd made this mistake and actually empowered to understand the importance of flagging this stuff up, of admitting to mistakes, which is one of our values in our business, and also about understanding how to play a part in process improvement going forward so that when mistakes like this happen, they only ever happen once, and we put things in place to make sure that they don't happen again in the future. So what happened in this particular case was we have a online document signing service. If you're interested, we use Jotform because it's free and it's really simple and easy to use. And in that, we upload a document and send it to our new clients for signature. It's our terms of business. And this happens with all of our new clients that come in. And if you're interested as well, we're looking to automate this. So it removes a human altogether. But at the moment, it's done with human involvement. And so in this particular instance, the document had expired in Jotform. So we needed to upload a new version. And this is the first time this person had done this task. It's been handed over from somebody else. And this new person is taking over this task for the first time. And so they, in their own rights, thought they'd do a search within our drive, find the document, and then upload it to replace the existing one or the expired one, and then send it out. And they did all this off their own back independently, and thinking, right, I just want to get this done because it's on my task board today. It's been assigned due date today. I'll just crack on and do it. The problem was that they'd done a search and found an old version with a similar name and uploaded that and then sent that off. And in fact, that was an outdated version. We've got a new improved version, which we now use. And she admitted to this during the meeting. And the result of this, or my reaction to this, the old me, and I hold my hands up, the old me would have probably been a bit annoyed about this, like, why didn't they check this? It was, and sort of have this feeling of, like it's their fault. And what happened in this instance, which I'm really proud of, my knee-jerk reaction was to say, how did this happen? What's broken in my system that allowed this mistake to happen? Because surely this is really simple stuff. Like, why on earth did this person A, have to go and do their own search and find this document off their own back, and B, why there weren't checks in place to make sure it was the correct document? And so we simply looked at the operation manual for this, and this is where operation manuals are so important, Because if you haven't got stuff documented, if there isn't somewhere of the written instructions of what should be done, then making any change, so if this person was just doing this because it's what they've always done, which is the way that many businesses work, you train someone, one-on-one to do something, they train the next person, but it's all in people's heads. Whereas in our business, and the way we coach and train our clients, is to actually document all the tasks that are happening in the business, all recurring tasks in the business. So we simply opened up the operation manual for this particular task and had a look and said, okay, well, how did you miss this? How did you possibly not know which document version to upload? And it was just a simple error or a simple omission. There was actually no link or no indication of what the actual source document should be. And so the simple fix was to just put onto this document two things. Firstly, a link to the actual template that needs to be uploaded. So next time there's no searching, it's just there. Really simple fix. And the second thing is something we call the checks. And the checks for this particular thing was check that the version number of the document uploaded to Jotform matches the current version number of the template. Because we may, as in this actually happens all the time, is if I make a change to a root document, I don't go about and then go and upload the new version to Jotform and all the rest of it. I'm cracking on with the rest of my day. But I want actually this new version to be used going forward. And I don't have to tell someone to go and remember to tell them, go and update this. I want it to be part of the process. So the next time that document is used, then they will actually do the check there and then. So it eliminates the need for all of that, update this, do this, whatever. It's part of the actual doing of the task to make sure that whether it's a document or an image or whatever it is that we're talking about here, that when an update happens, that they are doing the check before they actually go and send it out in this particular case. So the way that we structure, you may have heard this before talking about in other episodes, is the way that we structure our operation manuals to allow us to have a place to put all these things is we use something called the DIDACT, which is something I created to ensure that when we create a document, an operation manual, it contains every single piece of information. Hopefully, obviously in this case there was something missing, but in theory, every single piece of information needed for that person to do the task from start to finish without help and do it right first time and every time. And DIDACT stands for, the first D is the description, so what is the task about? And then the inputs, so all the constant inputs we call them, and that is all the things like links to templates, like in this example, a video guide maybe, a link to maybe the Jotform site, anything that's basically needed for that person to be able to just click on a link or open it up or know exactly where to go or what to do without having to go and do any searching and looking around for stuff. We then have the next D in DIDACT, which is the deliverables. That's exactly what will be the result of this. So in this particular case, it would have been the end result of this is that you have sent the correct version of the terms of business to the client's email address. And there may also be take a screenshot of this and post it onto the task so we know that you've done it. So those are the typical deliverables for any task. We then have the access. So what access is required to complete the task from start to finish without coming and saying, hey, you've assigned me this task, but you didn't give me the access to do this. All of these things, they delay work being done. They cause extra work within the business. So having the access listed means that when we delegate the task out, say if I delegated this task like I did the other day, I delegated this task to my new staff member, and all I have to do is look at the access list and say, have they got access to all the things they need to do the task? Yes, they have. Great. I know they're not going to come back and ask me about anything. And in this case, it would have been, access to the template folder, access to Jotform, access to email to be able to actually, they don't need access to email because it's sent from the form in this case. So just access to the template and Jotform in this particular example. Then you have the C of DIDACT, which is the checks, and that's what I mentioned before, like what things have gone wrong in the past that if we just put a little reminder of the really important stuff, we want to keep this to a minimum, but go make sure you, in this example, make sure you check the version number before you send it. So that's now a check on that operation manual to ensure that never happens again. And lastly, T in DIDACT is time. That is, how long should this take? Is it a 10-minute task? Is it a 2-hour task? Give an estimate of how long it should take, and then someone will know roughly are they potentially doing it right or wrong, because they're taking about the right time to do it. It's a super simple but incredibly powerful framework, and it's the core of, like, it's one of the first things we teach people on our coaching programs, is how to do this really well and how to get their staff to do it, and we train their staff to do it as well. It's such an important part of systemization, is being able to document tasks quickly, effectively, and efficiently in order to actually be able to get stuff out of people's heads and down in a way that other people can do it from start to finish without their involvement first time and every time. And I think that I mentioned before as well, like, the bigger outcome of this particular incident was that we had this is during our daily stand-up meeting, which we do every day. And so we had all the team members in there that are a part of that meeting, which is pretty much everyone for me. And so during that meeting, we discussed this, we looked at the issue, we corrected it. We then actually were able to have a conversation saying that, this is just a one-off example, but it's going to happen again. And so, like, the fact you admitted to this is absolutely brilliant. Like, I applaud you for not making the mistake, but actually for admitting to it is brilliant. So it's not like persecution, like, why have you made this mistake? It's thank you for letting me know you made the mistake. And that's a huge part of it. Not victimizing people, not making people feel bad about making the mistake, but making them know that admitting to the mistake is a really, really positive thing. That's the first part of building a culture of continual improvement. The second part is showing the person and reminding the team that there is a process for making changes when things happen. So when mistakes happen. And so it's not just a case of, one of the things I said was, there's going to be instances where you're going to not know something when you're doing a task, and you're going to ask somebody for the answer. And the worst thing that you could do is just do what they say. Because if you didn't know what to do at the time when you did that task, it means that when we give that task to somebody else in the future, they're going to have the same problem, the same question. So at the moment you think, I've got to ask something in order to be able to finish this task confidently, we need to document that. We need to put that in as, a link to the resource, or a extra checklist point, or maybe even the video guide needs to be updated to make it clearer. These are the signals, like, if you're ever asking a question, that actually the system or the operation manual or whatever you're doing, like, the documentation for that could be improved. And the time to improve it is the moment you spot there is an omission. And doing it then and building this into people's daily routines means it happens, there and then, while it's fresh in people's minds. It takes minutes to do, and it means that is then nipped in the bud and it will never happen again. You can't do that. I can't stress this enough. You can't have this process, this system for improving systems, unless you have initially created, like, your base system, your operation manuals, your flow charts, your guides, your DIDACTs. Without those key elements built into the way you work and the way you delegate tasks, it's very hard for people to then be able to have somewhere to document the improvements to that particular task, and then make sure that that is a mistake that only happens once. So although there was a mistake that happened, and in a perfect world that would never happen, but we don't live in a perfect world, the outcome of this took minutes to go through. It's a 5-minute exercise of everything I've just described to you during the meeting. But what we have done is to really reinstall that culture of continual improvement into the whole team, to show that we celebrate when people admit to their mistakes, because it allows us to improve the business going forward. And therefore, I believe the outcome of this is that we've had a really positive experience from someone making a mistake, rather than any possible other outcome where someone feels that they've done something really wrong and they may hide that next time, or that there's no point in admitting to mistakes because it doesn't make any difference. Like, we've got to actually action the admission of a mistake in a really positive way and a meaningful way, and a way that's going to make future behavior better, because that then empowers people to own up to any mistakes they make in the future. That's it for today. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please do give us some likes, give us a review on your favorite podcast app, or stick some comments in whatever channel you happen to be watching this on now. Tell me what the biggest takeaway from this was. And of course, share this with your friends, colleagues, loved ones, whoever you feel might benefit. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.